Folks, you have about 6 weeks to make sound financial decisions before the IRS takes taxes from everyone, or more than they should, if your tax strategy planning is in place. Here to talk about that, we welcome Jerry Sluszewicz.
Perfect.
Better. With Pacific Financial Planners. Jerry, welcome to the show. You have a lot of important information to talk about and to share with us today.
Yes, it is important, Bree, but thanks for having me.
Yes, so here we are approaching almost the end of the year again. How quickly that came.
Yeah.
So folks really only have 6 weeks for tax planning. Why is this such a large subject at this time of the year versus, say, April of next year when taxes are due?
Yeah, great, Bree, because everyone thinks of your taxes, oh, I got to get it done by April 15th.
Right.
But the deadline is midnight on December 31st. The decisions you make today make a difference of what happens in April. See, there's a difference between someone who does tax planning, a good financial planner like myself, and someone like your CPA who does tax reporting.
Right.
They're recording history. They're saying what happened between January 1st and December 31st, and then they're trying to prepare it in such a way to present it to the IRS in the most tax advantage way. But it's the decisions you planned for and made between now and December 31st. So you're right, this next 6 weeks is critical to make some tax savings. And it's like, hey, look, everyone has to pay taxes, but you want to pay your fair share and not a penny more.
Right. Yep. I, for one, got caught up in that with an LLC that should have been an S Corp, and I probably paid, well, we're just going to say a lot more than I should have.
Yeah,
had I had that information. So it is very valuable, very pertinent, very important. So many people think that housing and healthcare are their biggest expenses. But what they're not realizing is it's actually taxes.
Yeah, some people in healthcare, poor health later in life, it could kind of equal it or maybe even surpass it a little bit, but with Medicare and all those types of things, generally it doesn't. You're sharing your income, your wealth, your Social Security, you're sharing it with your Uncle Sam, the IRS. And taxes for most seniors is the biggest line item year after year after year. And so people are, now with inflation and all the things that have happened over the last few years, they're, deciding, vacations and trips and travel and groceries. What should I buy? What should I not buy?
Right.
Buy the new car or not?
Right.
And they're not spending the time necessary to look at their taxes and say, what can I do on my tax return between now and December 31st or for next year, for 2025 or beyond, that is going to put more money in my pocket and less in Uncle Sam's pocket legally. And there's so many different things you can do.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you mentioned that there's 3 kinds of tax structures for investment income. Mm-hmm. Can you go over those 3 structures for us?
Sure. The main thing, Bree, is the word income, is that most seniors, when you retire and you give up your job, you're getting your income from Social Security, maybe a pension if you're lucky enough to have one, and then you're taking income from your investments. And those things are taxed. So there's things that are taxed always, like your bank account, your CDs, your treasury bills. Every year that's in your name, you have to pay taxes. There are things that are tax deferred. People who have an IRA or a 401k, that money grows tax deferred, which means it's taxed later. And that's a really critical thing, is when is later. A lot of people think, well, I wait till they force me to take it out. Sometimes that's an okay strategy, but sometimes there's a better strategy to start taking it early, because they're tax deferred, and then there are some things that are taxed never or never taxed. And so people talk about diversification in their portfolio. A lot of financial advisors spend time talking about that, but they don't talk about tax diversification, because you should have some money that's never taxed and some that's tax deferred and some that's taxed always. And then where you draw from is one of the biggest decisions of how long your money's going to last. Should you draw from the tax never, from the tax deferred, or the taxable now? And it's different depending on your situation. There's not a one hat fits all for every person. So that's why it's an individual plan, and people do it wrong all the time. And that's really one of the most critical decisions, is where to draw your money from.
It's critical, but it's complicated. So that's why people need somebody like you to help them navigate exactly where they should be allocating, extracting,
Well, you're right, Bree, but a lot of people don't know that.
They don't know.
See, it's the old you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Look, I've been in this community for over 30 years helping seniors go through this. So I've seen this motion picture many times, from pre-retirement to passing, death and passing the money to your heirs. And a lot of people think, okay, I'm just going to save a bunch of money, put it in my retirement account, and draw Social Security when I'm eligible, and that's it. Or which stock should I buy, or which mutual fund should I buy? No, there's so much more to it. And that's why this decision is really critical, is because it is the biggest line item. You spend more money giving to the IRS
Right.
than you do spending it on your
Right.
vacations.
So what are some of the things that viewers can do between now and December 31st?
Well, like one thing is if you're at the age for the required minimum distribution. So if you're 73 this year or older, you must take money out of your tax deferred, either 401k, 403b, or IRA, because the IRS forces you to start taking distributions out. So one of the things, if you're charitably inclined, let's say you give money to your church, synagogue, or whatever it is, weekly or however you do it, rather than doing that weekly or monthly, have it come out of your required minimum distribution rather than you taking it as income. You can gift that money in lieu of a whole year's worth of gifting. Or if you give money to your university, or it has to be a 501c3, that's a better way of gifting once you're 73. There's other things you could do in terms of deductions as well. If you're in a higher tax bracket this year, you can prepay, like for example, your property taxes that are due next April. You can pay them now and get the deduction this year. So there's a high number of things that you can do. There's just a couple that I'll mention right now.
Would that offset the benefits for next year's property tax though?
Well, yeah, but then the next year you put 2 years out again, you know what I mean? And if you keep doing that, then one of those years you pass and you get it. But the idea, should you convert money to a Roth IRA? I mean, that's another one. This is the year end. A lot of people think, well, I've got, $1 million in my 401k. I'm not going to pay taxes on that and convert that to a Roth. You don't have to do all of it. You just maybe even 25,000 or 50,000, and not to put you in a higher tax bracket. So again, it's a really individual decision, but a lot of people are missing out on some of the benefits that they can do by creating tax-free money later with a Roth IRA.
Yeah, but how would you convert your IRA to a Roth IRA, and why?
Well, because you want to have the money grow tax-free. A Roth, the money grows tax-free forever. So you convert it now. The best for most people that would consider something like that would be they retired, so let's say 60 plus, but they're not 73. They're not on the forced RMD. So a lot of people don't, I don't want to touch the IRA and pull money out now. Now, again, with the election results, the Tax and Job Act that was set to expire at the end of next year probably won't. They'll probably get something passed next year to extend it. But it's a very good decision for some people to reduce the amount of forced distribution, forced tax that they have to take once they're 73 by making some decisions today without putting themselves in a higher tax bracket, to take some of that money off and convert it to tax-free income this year in the next 6 weeks.
Very important information, Jerry. Thank you for sharing that. You've got the Financial Forum Club coming up, year-end tax planning strategies. Clubhouse 7?
It's the last meeting of the year. It's an important meeting. If you haven't been there before, show up. You don't have to sign in or talk. You can participate. You can ask questions. There's coffee and cookies.
Coffee and cookies.
It's a fun group. We spend an hour talking about it, and the room educates themselves.
Right. All right, Jerry, thank you again for all of that valuable information. We appreciate you coming on, and come back again soon.
Well, thanks for having me.
Okay, stay tuned.